Hello, loves. Okay, so let's turn it a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to post the link to the live while everybody gets here. I hope you are all doing well in these very, very insane times. We have a ton to talk about. We have a ton to talk about. I'm just gonna share the link so the Patreon can join us, and then we are going to begin. So I'll give you guys like a minute, but I hope you are all well. I hope that you are. Um, I mean, the energy is definitely something else. I will say that. Um, but we have loads to talk about today, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Okay. So, hey Francesca, how are you? Hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? It is a very crazy day. Let me go ahead and pull up the chart of the moment, because we do have to talk about the astrology. The astrology is a big one that we need to talk about because there's been a lot of things going on astrologically, and it has been completely reflected with what's actually going on. Oh my god, there's so many squares happening. So many squares. So many squares. But we just have a lot going on spiritually. There's definitely been a lot of different messages that I've received today in the past couple of days, the past couple of weeks. If you notice, 2020 is turning our reality upside down, okay? And this really started to hit a very different crescendo when Saturn moved from Capricorn into Aquarius, which we've been talking about every week because it's a very important transit that's happening right now. It completely affects the way that society itself is moving, our collective consciousness, which is very much ruled by Aquarius energy, and how we move, what we believe in, what is the right thing to do, and things like that. That karma, because Saturn is still playing, it's like Aquarius energy is with Saturnian energy. The karma is happening on a generational level. There's a lot of things that have been getting cleansed away on a generational level. Things that are getting uprooted. There is a futuristic viewpoint into kind of wanting to see change and having that revolution, which is what Aquarius rules. Having that revolution and that change to benefit everyone, not just specifically one person or one group of people, but as a collective. So there's a lot of collective energy. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of friction. There's a lot of heat. Listen, it's definitely a lot. And then on top of that, if you guys notice, this is all happening in Gemini season. Like the past couple of months, we had Aries season, which they were mad because they didn't get to do nothing that they wanted to do. Then we had Taurus season. People were starting to get the hang of the quarantine, the staying at home. You watch the movies, you watch all the things. Then Gemini season comes, and I felt this in my heart for a while because you guys know that Bay is a Gemini, And so she's been very much like unrested when it came to just like wanting to even go outside and just do something else other than just go to work or whatnot. So I knew that Gemini season was going to kind of bring in the phase of, okay, but I just don't want to stay home anymore. I need to go outside. I need to just be out. I can't, I just can't. I have to do this. That's it. No matter what's going on. Gemini season has brought in the movement. It has birthed this specific consciousness current in the present consciousness, because while Aquarius rules the collective consciousness, Gemini is in the present. It's everybody's thought stream at once. It's what we're all thinking, is what the message is collectively, is how we're feeling, is what needs to be cleared off. It's all of those thoughts, all of those reactions. You see how much news has just like literally in the moment, people are like reacting in the moment. They're communicating things in the moment, especially when it comes to the protests. They're like, oh, don't go to the street, don't go to this place. Make sure you're getting safe. They're doing this in this place. Communication has been on point in Gemini season. That in itself, we have to acknowledge, because Gemini has been on the money when it comes to being the messenger and sharing the message and the issues to everybody collectively. So you have that Gemini energy saying, okay, you know what? Everybody's going to know that this is happening. It's not just, oh, some people know in certain parts of the country know this is happening. No, everybody in the country knows that it's happening. And we are collectively coming together and addressing it with that Aquarian energy. And it's just, it's a reaction. It's a complete reaction. The message is being delivered, and then you have to decide what you're doing with that message itself. So it's a very beautiful thing, but there's a lot of pain behind it, behind the communication, behind what we're sharing. It's not necessarily positive, because the situation in itself was not birthed out of positivity. So it cannot then be within itself, in the middle, in the chunks of it, in the heat of it, in the climax. It cannot be something that is positive. It has to be something that is a reaction, like you have to give a reaction to. And so when you have to kind of sit there and look at what the message is, and the message is like, whether you saw it on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, the news, wherever you saw that this man got killed by a cop, the way that he got killed, you have a choice in the way you react. The way you react is very important, because it will kind of dictate how you will progress moving forward. And right now it's a very critical point, because Saturn is in Aquarius, it's very much like, at the end of the day, you will receive karma for not having any type of reaction. There will be karma from that, because there is an element of justice that Saturn overall brings. That's why he is very karmic in his way. So having no reaction, no anything, no opinion, not even trying to share or help in any single way, whether it be a retreat or whatever, that will come back at you karmically. Be very mindful of that. Saturn is an Aquarius. Aquarius cares about society and the collective, period. If you don't care about the collective, you will be tripping later. Trust and believe. There will be a moment where you might need the collective to help you, whether it be like a small collective group or just one person that's outside of you that you need help or assistance or something, and then you will just get that locked door in your face. So there is, like, silence is poisonous during this time, but at the end of the day, Aquarius rules revolution, unexpected revolution. Uranus energy is very chaotic, but at the same time, a lot of people like love to hate Uranus because he's very unexpected. You never know when it's gonna come up. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, like it feels very in the moment kind of thing, like Aquarius energy, because Uranus is very like, but at the same time, you have to understand he rules the higher conscious plane, the higher conscious mind. Okay, so your crown chakra, that access is from Uranus. So while he gets very, you know, a lot of bad rep, and a lot of people kind of like to shit on him because they want to make it seem like Uranus is gonna just shit on your life. He wants you to upgrade your thinking, crown chakra thinking, what your connection to your higher self is, how you're elevating yourself. I always explain it to people in the simplest way. When your iPhone is telling you you need to upgrade, that's the same thing that Uranus does. Every now and then your iPhone, you get that message, time to update your phone, and sometimes you ignore it, but then something stops working and then you need to do it. It's the same thing with Uranus. He'll come out of the blue and he'll be like, well, you need to upgrade this, and if you don't do it, it will still unexpectedly, something will stop working, and then you will have to address the situation in that same way. Technology itself is ruled by Uranus, but the communication between the technologies, that's Mercury. So when we look at what's happening, when we look at how we as a collective are reacting, things are happening in cities that people didn't even expect that there would be protests in, and there are protests in. Things are happening where it's just like, it feels like, oh my god, every day there's something new, like in every single way that is changing, and that people are reacting to it. And even the way that you're seeing cops reacting to us, and that how that's getting blasted on social media, and it's like, hey, look at what you're doing, hey, these were peaceful protesters, and look at what you guys did. Again, the way we're reacting to it matters, and the way we are sharing and communicating and letting people know, especially for those people who are still like, you know, couldn't care less and are just in a different world. This is still a very a collective issue. This is still something that we all collectively need to address. And there's a lot of pain behind it. This past week, I was getting a lot of downloads from the Orishas themselves. A lot of them are very pissed off. I don't know if I'm the only one that's been getting these messages, but spirits themselves are very pissed off. Today, I went to the beach with Bay, and we knew we were going to do a ritual for Yamaya, because we always, if we're going to be by the ocean, we're going to do a ritual to Yamaya, even if like if it's a small one or whatever. We're going to just be with her in that space. And we both went into a meditation and prayer, and I was holding her offering in my hands, and I blessed it, and I set the specific intention for it, which was for the monthly community spell for the patrons, for what they voted for. But I also added, because it was mainly for protection for essential workers, I also added protection for, like, setting the intention for protection for those protesters, because they are essential right now, as well. They're essential for our community survival. So that was very important to me to add there. And I was just letting like the messages come in and being with her in that space. And when I tell you, the intensity was ridiculous. I've never felt Yamaya being so angry, and I've never felt, even the waves, they were just like angry. They were almost like raging. Like there's a lot of like, she just feels like so upset about what was happening with her kids. Because I don't know, for those who don't really work with Yamaya, Yamaya is very protective of her children. And if you know anything about Ifa or Santeria, you would know that it doesn't matter who is what, or who is who. Yamaya is the mother of all the children of the world, including some of the Orishas themselves. So she is very paternal in that way. Like the same way that if you got beaten up at school and you went home and your mother would like be really upset and raging about that situation, is the same way that she feels about this. She feels the pain, she feels the cries, she feels all of that as the mother. And the energy has just been, yo, I never felt that intense. I literally came out of it and I was bawling, and I just opened my eyes and I'm like, oh my god. And I just felt it in my chest. I look at Bae, she's bawling, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, she is really, 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 really upset. And I don't know if you guys noticed as well, the energy of Shango has been called on throughout the whole entire protest. The second I started seeing fire, I started just seeing clouds everywhere. And it's literally just waiting for lightning. Like I honestly feel like there's going to be a moment where people are actually calling for lightning and it will strike. Like that's how I feel right now. Like the Orishas are really going to war with all of this. There is still like spiritual warfare going on, and they're doing what they need to do, and they're listening to everybody's prayers, everybody's cries, everybody's everything, and they're feeling it. They're pissed off. So it's just, it's really crazy to me how intense this continues to feel. Like every single day you wake up and it just is so intense, and then you look at the chart and it's right there. Everything is just right there. And I will tell you guys this because we did talk about it in last week's video, and I know that, you know, it's a very early thing to talk about, but the solar eclipse in Cancer, it's going to be kind of a little bit out of this world. Cancer season is going to be the most emotional point of this year, period. I'm just saying it right now, because first day of Cancer season, new moon in Cancer, and a solar eclipse in Cancer. Okay? Okay? So you have this intensity of that mother energy itself, that which is Yemaya, intensified, magnified by the sun, put on blast by the sun. There's going to be a lot of need for nourishment, and just a lot of just emotional cleansing, and just really having like a moment to just take care of your emotions, your body, and how you feel. Like your feelings are going to be on blast. Everybody's feelings are going to be on blast. There's a lot going on with Gemini season where it's exposing a lot of the mental, like we're talking and we're saying things and we're communicating with our voice, but in our hearts we know things are wrong. But like Cancer season, I'm telling you, it's going to magnify everything. It's going to elevate a lot of the emotional, like I feel like it's going to be emotional warfare, to be honest. It's going to elevate it. It's going to get passionate. It's going to just, we're going to need a lot of healing from this. And because I just mentioned that, I do want to say, on my Instagram, for those who follow me on Instagram, there is, like, if you happen to be a healer, they are taking volunteers for services. I did sign up for it as well. I'm waiting to hear back to see how I can help. But we, collective of healers, are going to be donating services for those protesters who are going to need a lot of healing during and after this time. So if you are a healer and you do want to sign up for that, the link of that is in my stories on my Instagram. It's Dieta Gitana, same as my YouTube. So just make sure you check that out if you want to do something to help the community, and do your part in whatever way you can. So that's something that's also coming out of this. I feel like there's a lot of love and support coming from just a lot of those who are spiritually inclined right now within the community. And there's a lot of love and support, whether it be just lighting a white candle for those protesters, and just lighting for protection, asking, praying for them, in however way you can, just supporting, because I know the government is definitely not supporting its citizens right now. They still only sent one check, and they're not even trying to take a second one. And I read an article today that said that they don't, if the Republicans said, if they approve a second one, that's going to be the last one. And that's it. Period. Meanwhile, every other country in the world has done their part to not only protect their citizens, but their economies. Meanwhile, we're just struggling because everybody in power sucks. Completely sucks. Something that I did read today that was very, very unnerving was the call from Tom Cotton to send out, to get Trump to send out the military to start killing protesters in the street. Okay? I'm telling you, this is going to get crazier. This is going to get more serious. More people are going to die. And this is because people are not going to back off of this. This is not just going to go away just because they're threatening with the military. Some people within the military are going to be at a crossroads, whether it's like fighting for their country is fighting their actual country. So there is a lot of things that are going to be breaking down, and that is honestly, that itself, that message itself, like, I'm going to use the military, those are people, those are human beings that you're telling, and those are, a lot of them are people of color as well, and minorities. You're telling them to attack minorities and kill them. Okay? So we have to be mindful of how this is going to continue to just escalate and get elevated and get more serious. But there is a revolution just building and brewing, because people are over. They're just tired. They're so tired. But it's like, you're tired, but you're at the point where you're giving it the last energy you have, and that's it. You're just gonna put the rest of your energy out and just saying, no, I'm not gonna take this shit anymore. So it's a lot. It's heavy. It's not fun. This whole entire year will be completely plagued by all of these things that are happening right now. But these are necessary changes, okay? All of these things are necessary changes. There are protests happening everywhere. I'm going to be going to the protest that's happening a couple of days from now in my city, and I'm going to try to support in the best way that I can, but also trying to stay safe, because a lot of the other thing is that there's been non-people of color and also police officers actually breaking a lot of these stores and stuff, just to try to make it seem like it's, you know, those in the community doing it. So there's a lot of things going on, and trying to make the movement itself be a bad thing in any capacity. So there's it's just so much hate and so much tacticalness, where people are actually plotting to do things and leaving bricks on corners of the street before protest starts, and mysteriously bricks be getting there. Like, it's just, there's a lot of plotting. We need to be mindful. Please make sure that you are just saying a prayer. The least you can do is just say a prayer for those protesters who are on the street every day, because this hasn't stopped, every day, and just ask for their protection, pray for their protection, call on spirit, because I'm telling you, they're ready to go. The spirit is just pissed, honestly, just pissed off right now, especially the ones that are deeply connected with the African community. So there's a lot of pain there. So just be very mindful of that. Now with the chart, one of the other things I wanted to talk about, because we talked about Uranus. I mean, Uranus is still in Taurus right now. I wouldn't be surprised, okay, if you start seeing a lot of things happening in the earth, whether it be like a tornado out of the blue, or things happening out of the blue in certain cities, just because the energy is so built up. Because if you think that the earth itself is not listening to our energy and what we're feeling and what we're doing and the intensity, if you think the earth is not going to react to that, you're batshit crazy. It's listening. The earth itself is its own spirit. It is listening. It picks up everything. Just like you know how people say, oh, like, that person's an energy vampire, or that person has bad vibes. The earth itself picks up your vibe. It is its own spirit itself, okay? And it feels the intensity, and this will be manifesting, this collective energy of pain and hurt will be manifesting in a natural disaster. I'm just letting you know right now. Be very mindful. Be very mindful. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that your company fired 400 people. That sucks. That really sucks. These are crazy, crazy times. And I don't know how the greatest country in the world became like a third world country. This is crazy. These are crazy times. These are very crazy times. Listen, do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. Make sure you file for unemployment as fast as you can, because I know that it's really hard to even get it and then get approved, and it takes forever. So just make sure you take care of yourself. But these are very, I honestly, every single person that I know, besides me, my dad, and one of my roommates, are all unemployed. It's really crazy times. Yeah, I'm not surprised you've been waiting 3 months for unemployment. A lot of people have been waiting a long time for it. And it's crazy that the country itself is not taking care of us the way we're supposed to. But this has been a lesson. This whole presidency has been a lesson. And this generation is tired. It's really tired. Like our generation, we're tired of all the nonsense. And this everything is going to progress. It's going to shift. It's going to change. You're going to see a lot of what this year ends up being a foundation for the rest of what's coming for the next even 10, 20 years. um so don't kind of shit on 2020 and be like, oh, 2020 sucks. 2020 is a change, like, foundational year. It has its roots in many things. It's addressing not only like the fact that we need universal health care, but it's also exposing how weak the way our economy is built, the way that we react to it, how we take care of our citizens, all of these things. All of these things have been completely and utterly exposed. So the way we react to it is what's the most important at this time. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about before we move on is Mars being in Pisces during this time, because listen, Mars doesn't like being in Pisces. We've talked about this previously. This is not a really fun time, even even though everybody is really like fired up, and you feel that fire, you feel that anger, you feel a lot of that. Chiron is in Aries right now. Okay, Chiron, the wounded healer, is in Aries right now. Aries reacts from, it goes like, it's a flame. It reacts like this. It's a match. You, like, that's Aries, like boom in your face. So that pain, this is why there's that warrior like energy, is because Chiron is in Aries right now. But Mars is in Pisces. There's a lot of lies, there's a lot of illusion, and this is what I'm saying about, there's some people leaving bricks on corners, there's some people, like, there's some undercover cops going on breaking shops just to make it seem like it was other people doing it. There's a lot of illusions happening. Not only are we going to war, but they are too. We just can't see a lot, some of the things that they're doing. We're seeing and we're acknowledging and we're sharing the truth with each other, but be mindful that there's still a lot hidden. And the way the war is being played is with the media and how things are getting communicated. So be very mindful of what, you know, the truth is. Even when it came to, like, for example, one of the biggest pieces of news that came out today was the autopsy report, where it came out to be that he was actually asphyxiated because he had pressure in his neck and his back, and that's why he actually died, because they had to do a second autopsy, because the first one, they were trying to say that it was previous health conditions and have this illusion of what the truth is, so they can give the dude a less charge and all of these things, so people would be less mad. Please, everybody saw him die. You think that people are stupid? No. There's a lot of illusions at hand. Even though Mars doesn't like being in Pisces, that doesn't mean that Pisces is not still going to be, the energy of the elusiveness is still not going to be used. So just be mindful, because people are moving very funny right now. And that's going to continue to kind of like, you're still going to see that, especially because Neptune is already is still in Pisces. It is the age of Aquarius right now. This is what I'm saying. The generations right now, the newer generations, the one that have the years to affect change, which is us, because the older generation, honestly, at this point, I feel like they should retire. They should just retire. The older way of doing things does not, it just is not the right way. They should just stop. Okay? They're not going to because they love power, but they should just stop. Revolution is going to matter in this generation the most, and that's something that it affects us all collectively. It affects us all as a society. It affects us all spiritually. Okay? Because if you are my neighbor and I'm hurting because of this, you're going to feel that pain. No matter how far you stay away, you're still going to feel that pain on the collective. There is no collective joy if we're all hurting, or if half of us are hurting or a quarter of us are hurting from something. It just doesn't happen. So be mindful from the lies. Be mindful. The energy is still there. It's still going to continue to just, oof, it's just a lot of squares. It's a lot of squares, a lot of fighting, a lot of like hate, a lot of reaction, a lot of just tired. It's just tired, but you have the time. You have the time to react. You have the time to give the energy, even though you're so exhausted emotionally. It's a lot of just like, no, you can't take it anymore. So it's these times are really important for you to still take moments to let yourself cry if you need to, take a spiritual bath, do your cleansing, get a sound bath, put on some incense, open the window. At the minimum you can do is just open a window, let some fresh air in, especially during Gemini season. You want to breathe in some fresh air. This is one of the best things, even though it was really, really cold today at the beach. Me and Bae were talking about that. We really just like the fact that we got to just breathe in the ocean air. The ocean air is very cleansing. Yamaya is always going to be that cleansing to your just sinuses. Do like, you can even like warm up some in a pot, like water, put sea salt in it, put a cloth over your head and just breathe, just steam, just relax. There needs to be moments of peace within the turmoil where you can come back to yourself and recharge. And you need to, if you don't know how to recharge, you need to figure out what it is that, how you need those recharging moments. So when you need to react, you can react and you have the time to react, but you still need to recharge because, listen, we're young and we have time, we have energy, but we can get burnt out too. This whole entire thing is very tiring. And right now is the time to make sure that, because they're definitely not taking care of us, take care of you, and then put in the other energy that you have into doing what it is that you can for the community. Okay? So that's what I'm seeing in the chart right now. I am going to go ahead and pull some cards for this week so we can know what's happening. And also for those who are, I'm just going to cut the deck a little bit. Hold on. But for those who are going to be asking me where the readings are for this month, they're coming. Hold on. I'm trying to read your video, your comment a lot. It says, can you make a suggestion for me in terms of ancestral work and shadow work? Where do I start? I'm not a beginner witch, so I do have some experience, but I would, oh, hold on. It goes away so fast. Okay. So I do have some experience, but I wouldn't call myself super experienced. So in terms of shadow work and ancestral work, well, it depends, because are you trying to do shadow work, ancestral work, or are you trying to do shadow work and then are you trying to do ancestral work? Like, is it like within the same family, or is like, are you trying to do one with the other, or are you trying to just do ancestral work, shadow work? Like, you have to clarify what you mean, because those are two different answers basically. So if it's ancestral work, the easiest way to work with your ancestors, to be honest, is just to literally talk to your ancestors and hold space for them. I like to do like kind of like a council of the ancestors. I usually do this every morning after I do yoga. When I go into savasana, I just meditate. I call my ancestors and I ask them to talk to me. I just start like, what do I need to know for the day? Like, it's just a list of things. Like, especially if I'm concerned about something specifically, what could I be doing better today? What do I need to focus on? Just whatever is your concern, you can go ahead and hold space for them that way. Now, I've gotten my ancestors to the point where there's not necessarily a lot that I need to heal, because I've done so much healing work with my ancestors that it's mainly like they're in a really good place to just have that back and forth and work with me in that way. However, if you're not in a place where your ancestors are healed, then that becomes a whole different story, because then you are going to have to not only get to know your ancestors, but also know what it is that you want to help them with. So specifically, like, let's say you have a some sort of issue that comes up not only for you but your family, then you have to heal generational trauma with the ancestor work. So that's what I mean by clarify the question, because then I can actually give you a direct answer, because there's literally so many possibilities when it comes to ancestor work and shadow work, that is kind of, it gets hard to tell what it is that you actually want me to answer. So just let me know what you mean so I can answer it. But so yeah, let me know, just type it up. But when it comes to ancestor work, it's very, 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 very important to honestly, Pink is back. I know some of y'all just like miss Pink. Come here, cute. She was at Grandpa's. The girl, say hi. Say hi to everybody. Say hi, Pink. I missed her. She was at Grandpa's while we were at the beach. They just got her. Pink, say hi. She's so cute. She's my little baby. Did she eat? She good? She's good? Okay. All right. Okay, you're going to be over here. Over here while I shuffle. Okay, let me see if you wrote down the question. You want to get a tarot deck, but you have no idea where to find a deck? Amazon. Erica, let me know when you want to write it down. She is 9 years old. She's a Libra, and she's 9 years old. Amazon, if you want to get a deck, Amazon usually, especially because everything's closed right now, I can't, tell you, oh, go to this place, go to, somewhere where, go to a physical shop. There's literally no point of me recommending, because all of those places are shut down. So Amazon is going to be your best answer. And you might actually get it more inexpensively. Even if I recommend you to one of the online stores, they're probably going to charge you higher than Amazon would. So it depends. If you want to support like a local Botanica or something like that, you can try Original Botanica. They always have like tarot decks on hand. But just be mindful that you might be paying a little bit more. So it depends on how you want to budget and if you want to support them or not. But yeah, Amazon, you can get your decks at. Can you say more about healing generational trauma? So healing generational trauma really has to do with a lot of self-reflection, because you have to kind of really analyze your family. That goes from the family tree, that goes from like things your mother used to say about your aunt when she was little, like when you were little. It really has to do with like things that stand out, and patterns are everything when it comes to generational trauma, because when you see a pattern continuing to repeat itself, you know that that's the thing that needs to get addressed. And that's kind of the thing when it comes to life and lessons, that you see, like if somebody, like let's say you keep dating the same type of person, is because you haven't learned the lesson that archetype of that person has to bring you. So it's the same thing when it comes to a lesson within the family. And if it's like a generational curse or something like that that's gotten passed down, and you keep seeing that pattern everywhere, that issue has not been addressed. So you do have to look at the patterns. You have to talk to your family. You have to really listen to your mom when you know how the family spills the tea, and they'll be talking about how, oh, your uncle did something like that. You have to pay attention to those type of issues, because when it comes to family drama, some of that is actually generational trauma. And you have to know where to pinpoint it. Like, oh, like, how was grandpa? Asked about especially the older ancestors, because the older ancestors are the one that gave birth to the ones that are the closest in age. And so the things that happened to your grandfather, the things that your grandfather did to their kids, who are now your uncles and aunts, directly affect their behavior and things that have gotten passed down. So one of the things that, for example, just to give you an example, my grandfather from my mom's side was very rich in the Dominican Republic. He had farms everywhere, and he ended up having 22 kids, 10 of them with my grandmother, and then the other ones, you know, my grandfather got around. My grandma actually ended up raising all of them, pretty much, almost all of them. Some of them ended up moving out of the country, but at one point she raised 22 kids. With him and without him, because he ended up leaving, like they got a divorce at one point. And the fact that my grandfather was, and the person that he was and how he treated women within our family, it actually, if you looked at all of the women during the time and how it they got affected during the time, and the specific issues that the women within the side of the family, especially because my grandma carried a lot of pain from how he hurt her during the time, it created certain things that kind of started repeating within the marriages that his daughters ended up getting into, within with the type of archetypes and personalities that the sons ended up having, and the issues that I ended up having, or not that I ended up having, but that my cousins ended up having within the family itself. So it was a very interesting cycle and dynamic to how things were being passed down, that I only was able to kind of break apart by analyzing the stories, talking to my mother, hearing her stories, listening to the past. I've always been a huge history buff. I talk about history all the time. History was one of my favorite classes in school. That and creative writing and English class, two of my favorite, besides like astronomy, obviously, because I love the planets. But I love history. So I like to, you know, the saying that says you have to look at the past or you are doomed to repeat it. I 1000% believe that. And this is why doing Akashic Records work and doing past life work, it's literally that. Like, you're looking at your past in order to not only not make the same mistake, but also heal the thing and make sure you're not repeating and having these cycles. So it does take a look back. It does take talking. It does take, you know, researching. Like, if you want to treat it like you're actually writing a research paper, you know, call up some of your aunts and uncles, especially if there's beef in the family. Like, oh, why doesn't your titi get along with your uncle? Well, what happened? Well, all of these things. Call both of them up. Hear both sides of the story. Like, listen to what the emotional pain is within the family itself, so that you can actually heal the thing. Because once you know, okay, then you're like, oh, okay, so this was the issue. Then you craft your magic around that issue. It's the same way, like, people want to just do love spells to react to their love lives. You do curse breaking spells to react to your generational cursed life. You know, that you have to use your magic to be reactive. It's like a proactive reactive movement where you're actually using your abilities to heal and cleanse your space. And then the more you heal your generational trauma, not only the lighter that you feel, but it also helps the rest of the family as well. So you all start prospering. So a lot of that beautiful kind of positivity and wealth that my grandfather had at the time, he actually ended up, the way he passed was just really sad. Like, his whole thing was just ended up being really sad, but he got a lot of karma at the end of it. I wasn't really surprised. Don't say I'm stopping the cycle on my children. You stop the cycle with you, okay? That's how you stop the cycle. You stop the cycle. Once you stop the cycle, you don't hand it to your children at all, because you stopped it. You see how that works? You don't say, I'm stopping the cycle at your children, because then you're saying your children will have to deal with the cycle that you did not heal. Gemini season is really important. I've been telling Bay all this whole past couple of weeks to be very clear and mindful with the intentions that you say with your throat chakra, okay? Because Gemini season is a very highlighting throat chakra energy. So when the words that you say are all intentions, and they get amplified during this time the most. So just be very mindful of how you're saying it. Be in the present as much as you can, so that way later on you don't have to deal with any roadblocks. When it comes to the workshops, I'm mainly doing the workshops on the Patreon right now. And the link is going to be in the bio once the video uploads a little bit later. But yes, I'm mainly doing the workshops on the Patreon because it's the only way I can do them digitally right now. So definitely check that out if you're interested in that. And that I can definitely make that a focus for this month's class. So I just finished cutting the deck. So let us read up what's coming up, what's upcoming during this week. And for those looking for the monthly chakra healing videos, because I know I'm going to be working on them. So be patient with me. I'm going to be working on them tomorrow night and the night after that. So be patient with me on those. I'm going to try to get them uploaded as fast as possible. But I'm also getting my camera equipment in. I know you guys saw the picture, but I just got my camera. And I'm waiting for the rest of the stuff to come in, including the mic and everything. So be very mindful that I'm like transitioning into using my new camera as well. So that's going to be like more editing and stuff. So it's going to take me a minute to get kind of like the flow of it. But for now, I'm just going to keep shooting on my phone until, you know, I can fully use my, you know, my camera. Also, I want to do more meditation videos. I already spoke to Bay about this because Bay is a DJ and she's also a producer, which is fun. And so she's gonna help me set up the not a studio, but kind of like the way I'm gonna record some of the sound baths. So stay tuned for that because that's something that I am working on. I'm working on a lot of things. This is Gemini season is like fun to kind of get me like not only just kind of scattered, but a little bit like having more ideas and how I'm going to be addressing kind of all of the things that I want to do. So what's coming up this week? What energy should we be aware of as a collective? Okay, so we have the 10 of Wands and Temperance in reverse. So listen, the Hierophant. Okay, so there's definitely, I feel like there's people that need rest. There's people that need, there's going to be a moment this week where things are just going to like stop or be still for a moment. And something's going to give this week because this is the card of conformity. Okay. It's definitely going to be a tough week emotionally, energetically. Temperance is in reverse. Temperance is in reverse. This is not going to be a week of necessarily positivity by any means. I feel like the government is going to do something a little bit drastic, and it's actually going to work. And this might have to do with the fact that they're trained, like basically getting the military to do what they're doing. But this situation might actually, it's gonna, I feel like something really bad is gonna happen. I feel like something really, really bad is gonna happen. We have the King of Cups and the Four of Wands in reverse. I feel like something really bad is gonna happen. I feel like this is gonna happen. You know, don't forget that Trump is a Gemini. Okay? Trump is a Gemini, which means that the things he says, the things he does, the things he thinks, even the fact that he's considering sending the military out there, this is going to put a lot of people's home bases in a kind of turmoil. There's more people that are going to be passing this week and it might be way more than the last week. Okay, I feel that really heavily in this reading. I feel like some of those people, because the families are just going to be so in pain, are going to just take a moment to just pause and stop, because people are going to be a little bit scared. There is a little bit of fear in there. Wheel of Fortune is in reverse too. The retrogrades are still very much active. Don't forget that the retrogrades are still very active. This situation is not going to be resolved just yet, but the government is going to do some drastic ass shit in order to fearmonger everybody into stopping. Okay? This is something else. This is war. There's still a lot of pain. There's still a lot of there's still a lot of pain. And you see how this is the after terror. You see how he's not really looking at what's happening in the river. Somebody is drowning. There's some people that are going to choose to kind of ignore that something, like, especially those in the non-people of color community. There's some people that are going to be heavily ignoring what's happening to everybody else. Even though they have a lot of emotions about it, they're just not going to do anything to help anybody else. And Queen of Wands in reverse, the Emperor in reverse. Our government is very weak right now. They're not moving strongly. They're not in control. It's very scattered. Even though things will happen where, like, you see how we're getting a lot of the fire energy, like, like in reverse. It's scattered. It's not in power. It's not in the place where it's just like grounded and you can listen to it. It's scattered, and it's almost like uncontrollable fire, which is very dangerous because uncontrollable fire burns. I don't know if y'all been watching Avatar as much as we have been in this household, but it's kind of like the fire element, okay? And fire bending. If you do not control it, you can hurt yourself. You can hurt somebody else. And right now, they haven't been controlling this fire. This entire protest, this entire collective force has not been controlled. And they're not going to help at all with this. They're just going to make it worse. And this is a very traumatic experience. This is a very traumatic month for a lot of people, a lot of those in the community. There's a lot of pain involved. There's a lot of need for that nourishment. And this is what I mean by things are building into Cancer season, are going to get really emotional, and needing to just be with the collective, have just a moment of just like, I feel comfort. Comfort is like something that people are searching for but can't get because everything is out of control. Okay, so this is really Ace of Wands. This is it's definitely a new part of the journey where we can come together and decide what the future looks like. And I do feel like there's a moment that we will see that. I know that there are some out there, even in the community, that in the government, that want to have those changes, that are calling for those changes, that are saying, you know what, put it on my desk, I'm gonna vote for this. I don't want to co-sign this behavior anymore. I don't want to be in the ruling, party, having this power that I have and not doing anything with it. Like, I hear your voices, I hear your pain, I want to address this stuff. There are actually people out there that are going to want to comfort the community, but it's not everybody. So be mindful of that. While we will see a pause, it's not going to fix everything. And it's it's happening out of some people really wanting to band together and saying like, hey, we hear you. Here's what we can do to try to address this. But there's still a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, a lot of hate, a lot of uncontrollable fire. Empress and the Three of Wands. And that's what I mean. Some police officers were supporting the protesters. I loved seeing that because there have been moments of true, like, in the moment, just stopping, like, trying to be like, oh, we're gonna fight you guys, we're gonna just be against, we're gonna be, no, just like being in the moment, like, hey, we actually agree with you, this is not right. It's really refreshing to see more of that happening, even though in some parts of the country it's not happening at all. It's really refreshing to see that happening in some parts of the community, because we need that. We need them to also know that there's this, it's not right, and that they know that it's not right. Okay? Bottom of the deck. Strength, 8 of Wands, 6 of Wands, and the Page of Swords. Lots of fire energy. Like I said, lots of fire. Lots of fire. We are entering into a period where there's a lot that will come from this in the future. There's a lot that will come from this where we can all benefit from collectively. But things have to be made. And it sucks to say this. I always hate saying this because as much as it is true, it sucks that lives have to be lost in order for change to happen. But for some reason, when it comes to the human race, especially when it comes in the United States, some people have to die for things to be taken seriously. And that sucks to say, but more people will die for this to be taken and elevated, and for it to continue to fuel this fire, this pot of uncontrollable fire, where it's just like, no, we can't, we just can't, this can't. Whether we conform into a new normal and bring back the temperance, or they act out and try to really, really try people in the worst way. At the end of the day, we will come out of this as a collective. Like, spirit is conspiring to get us out of this, out of collective, even if the government wants to do the absolute worst. Even if they will be breaking up families, because I also see that all over this. It's breaking up families, breaking up communities, thinking the worst of them as well. Jealousy. Jealousy is one of the cards for this week. Tell me, why is that one of the cards for this week? Why? Why do you guys think jealousy it's coming up for this week? So jealousy, what is the basis of jealousy? What is the basis of wanting something or that you don't have? Especially when this is like a community thing. So why is there jealousy coming up from other communities, from other people? I think that when it comes to specifically the community, people of color, everywhere, there's always something specifically particular to us that is very sacred and different and beautiful and unique and cultural wherever we are birthed at. Okay, there is culture all over, traced over, that you can literally trace over any country that has people of color. There is beautiful culture in those places. And when you look at what they will be known as, it's really just a bunch of haters, a bunch of people that take from our community, okay? Because they don't have the creative or that cultural connection or that sense of community that we have in the way that we have. And there's a lot of people that even if you don't notice it, even if like it seems like a ridiculous energy to have during this time, but the evil eye energy, there's a lot of people, especially within the non-people of color community, that are throwing a lot of negative, hating energy, specifically right now. So it's important to also pay attention to that, because you don't want to add that to the trauma, especially from what you're picking up. The sensitivity right now is really high. It's really high. The king is upside down. It's really high. So it's important to make sure you're not picking up on more energy than you already have and are kind of showing with the rest of the world. You want to make sure that you're still empowered and within yourself, even amidst all of the circumstances. We have death and gratitude. Death and gratitude. While there will be people that will have to die in this war, they will not die for no reason. Be very mindful of that. But also spirit is also very active right now, and it's really telling that the Empress and the Three of Wands is what's coming up, because the Empress is very close, as like in relation to Yemaya, if you're looking for like a like the spirits connected to the tarot. Yemaya is very connected. Also, Oshun is connected to the Empress, but because Yemaya, because the Empress is pregnant in this, she is seen as Yemaya when she comes up in this way. So there is going to be a new, beautiful, fertile future for us. And some of us, and you know what, I was talking to my friends today. I had to call her because I'm like, my spirit just told me to call her. And I was telling her, I was like, I'm going to be moving out of this country. You best believe that I'm moving out. First of all, there's nothing in this country left for me. Energetically, spiritually, there's nothing here. I have to go. I have to leave. And I feel like I'm not the only one that feels that way. And I felt that for a couple of years, but this year alone is going to be the year that have set people into a new journey within the physical earth. Not just, oh, I'm starting something new. No. People will be actually moving and leaving into the next thing. This is changing. I'm going to pull out some more oracle cards so we know what else we need to be knowing for this week. Be very mindful. Ask for protection. When you go outside, ask for protection. This is why, especially with this energy, with the jealousy energy, it's important to also pray for others to be protected as well. Whether you're lighting a candle for them, whether you're just asking spirit, calling Archangel Michael to protect. Like, you guys need to really, especially as a spiritual community, we need to really come together to protect those who are out there. Especially because it's gonna get worse. We need to do it. Go outside. You have been indoors for too long. Go outside and get some fresh air. This week. Whether you're going outside to protest or you're going outside to just get some fresh air. This is literally why I went to the beach this week. I mean today. I really needed that breath of fresh air, and it was really, really, really cold, but I needed that breath of fresh air. I needed to breathe. I needed just to be like, I breathe better when I'm by the ocean. Always, every single time. It's a different air. It's just different. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but it's different air. It's completely different air, different oxygen. There's something really cleansing about it. Like, I always feel like I go by the water and I'm just like cleared. So we have focused intention. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions. Focus on your target and you will make your mark. And I feel like that's really powerful because especially this week, the intention has been very, very, very clear. It has been like justice. It has been being in the moment and reacting to what's happening and saying, hey, we're not taking this anymore, being very clear and open and just not taking any type of slack about it. It's just, it's about justice at the end of the day. It's a very Libra-esque energy, and the moon is actually in Libra right now, which is actually fun. But it's definitely a very Libra-esque energy where we all need to tap into that justice and what that looks like collectively. So we have also inner goddess and blossoming for this week. Okay, so that's awaken the goddess within you through dance, self-care, and appreciating your divinity. Like I said, taking care of yourself is very important. And you are just getting started. Have patience with yourself and the process, and do not give up. Okay? It's a lot of beautiful messages for this week. I feel like, especially because it's so heavy, the oracle cards are just trying to bring you back into your healing practice and really what you're doing to be reactive to reactive crystals. Okay? Reactive to what you're experiencing. If you're experiencing pain, if you're feeling tired, if you're exhausted, if you need to rest, listen to your body and then do it, especially what's going on. Find the blessing in your current situation. What is the blessing within the situation that is happening collectively? We are all coming together. We are not letting people meditate was just like meditate this week. Okay, every day meditate this week. We're not letting people take over our energy. We're being very direct. We are setting our intentions clearly as a community. We have artistic expression. Definitely music would be a beautiful thing to also work with this week. I just have had the different albums just and songs on repeat, and just meditating through them as well. It's just been a very beautiful thing to do. Let it go is one of the other cards as well. Especially because we have this death energy. Okay, this is definitely something that is, it's gonna manifest in different ways. Death is gonna manifest as in different ways, because the transition is gonna, in the shift and the way it's happening, is not gonna necessarily look like the way everybody wants it to look like, but it's gonna be a necessary process. And I feel like some people are gonna be very surprised with how that happens. Then we have persistence. Persistence. So making sure every day you wake up, whether you're reposting, whether you're donating, whether you're volunteering, whether you're protesting, whatever it is that you're doing that can help and assist, make sure you maintain that. What astrological energy do we need to, will we be affected by this week? Okay. Earth, Neptune, Sun, Saturn. Literally pretty much everything we talked about earlier. Didn't we just talk about? Yeah. Okay. So we talked about the Earth because I told you guys a lot of this fury, a lot of this energy is going to manifest into actual like in the physical realm, natural disasters. Pay attention to this. Neptune, because there's a lot of illusions, and Pisces energy is being misused by some and used well by others, because Pisces, the water signs, are still doing a lot of creative shit. Don't sleep on the water signs. A lot of the water signs that I've even spoken to, and I've told them, I'm like, you working on the thing? And they were like, how you know? And I'm like, because I know all of them are doing work. Let them be, let them do their thing. Sun, which is in Gemini. Okay, we already know what Gemini is doing collectively. And Saturn, because you know he is dealing, Mercury is the bottom of the deck, hilariously. But Saturn, because you know he's dealing a lot of the karma that's happening. And a lot of the restructuring that's happening. Don't forget that Capricorn rules the government itself. And a lot of things are still in Capricorn. Pluto, it's still in Capricorn. Jupiter is still in Capricorn. Okay? If you thought that this Capricorn energy was not moving, even though it's moving slow, because it's an earth sign energy. Earth sign energy. It's moving slow. It's still moving. It's still a necessary, but it's happening the way it's happening. You have to be mindful. Earth sign energy, it's just not, it's not like Aries. Like if Saturn was in Aries, we would be at war like right now. Like, but that's not the way, you know, Capricorn moves. It has to plan, it has to plot. What do we need to know for this week? Okay. Wow. We have making a choice. Sad embrace. Okay. Storm fields. And home. That energy is really, really saying a lot. Because you have making a choice. Do you go outside into the storm fields or do you stay home and just be in your feelings about the thing? Or do you want to be in your feelings collectively and share that collective emotion? Or do you stay home and be in your feelings about how you're reacting to the times, to what's happening about the thing? Like, what does your choice look like? And how does that translate? What choices are you doing that are helping or hindering? Do you want to help or hinder? Is that something that you think about? This is a very, very deep and just, you see how like similar energy? There's a lot of contemplation. There's a lot, I do feel like there's a lot of people who are literally just collecting trauma and then having to slowly, it's churning at them within moments, and there's a flux of emotion. That Gemini duality is when it hits to the other twin where it's just like it's a little heavier than usual, you're gonna feel that hard. It's not gonna be a fun experience on a singular just perspective. On a collective, it's really something that it hurts. If you want to be a healer, you have to heal yourself first. So you have to focus your entire practice has to be about you healing yourself. When you learn how to heal yourself, then you know like how to help others to some capacity. You also have to be called to be a healer, because there are some that want to be a healer, want to be healers, but are not called to be healers. And you have to kind of see what that looks like for you. So I would recommend like looking at your natal chart and seeing what your natal chart kind of says, and where the energy is for being a healer for you, because there are different placements that kind of show that as well. But you do have to focus on healing yourself before you can help anybody else, because a lot of the parts of being a healer and holding space has to do with being able to see into completion certain things that people, and especially through your third eye, like just certain things that people will not get by themselves, just like needing that direction, and how you help with that direction. I'm telling you, a lot of people are getting, it's definitely energetically traumatic and energetically draining. So please, 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 please do what you need to do to take care of yourself, your energy, your spirit. Whether like you're like, oh, you know what, I just really need some ice cream right now, go get yourself an ice cream cone. do what you need to do to make yourself feel good within those moments. Make sure that you are energetically in a good place as well. Check your chakras every morning. I still gotta make that video for you guys. I'm gonna do that pendulum video for you guys where I show you how to check your chakras with the pendulum every morning. It's very easy to do. But I'm gonna do that video for you guys soon, so stay tuned for that. But yes, about being a healer, definitely focus on healing yourself first. You have to really look out and break down what are your traumas. What do you need to heal with? Also, when it comes to your ancestors, it's like healing on a completely, like if you put yourself, if you're making a spider tree, you're in the middle, and then you're like, oh, I have to heal this, family trauma. I had like relationships issues. This happened to me. Like all of these little branches start coming up, and you need to address all of that before you even get into helping others, because a lot of healing those experiences, and you will always find that healers will always go through experiences that will then help the next person that they're healing. That's kind of how it and always ends up happening with that. I find that happened to me a lot, especially with all the soulmate stuff that I went through. Whew. It definitely helps now when I get asked about like in like with these specific different things. So yeah, it's about being consistent. It's about making sure that you're balanced, but also making sure that you're called to do it, because not everybody's called to be a healer. Some people are called to do other things, and you can literally see it all in your natal chart. So if you are called to be a healer, it will be not only dictated in your natal chart, but you also get pushed to communicate and work with people who are leaders already. Like you would have grown up like my mother. It's huge intuitive. My whole side of my mother's family is super intuitive, and very, very, very spiritual. But I've already found, like, when I was little, there's so much that I knew just by where I grew up. And, like, the training began kind of, like, young in that way. So you just have to really go into the I'm going to butcher the word. Analyzation. I kind of said it. You have to go into that and really look at yourself back and forth. Just like a therapist would sit down and be like, oh, so what do you want to talk about today? You have to be your own therapist. You have to be like, oh, I'm feeling this. Why are you feeling this? Like, I talk to myself all the time. Y'all know this. Those who have been following me for a long time know my Gemini moon ass talks to myself all the time. But I get a lot of messages that way because I am consciously allowing my consciousness to be open and not closed off. So it's also about working with your elements, working with your abilities, working with your natal chart, not going against it. But yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Definitely check out your natal chart. That's the big thing. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and go for the nights. Thank you all for subscribing. I just want to thank the new subscribers that we've had on here, because I literally had been watching my YouTube grow for the past couple of days, and literally it was like 200 people in like less than 2 days. And I was just like, babe, oh my God. And she was like, yep, you gonna reach 20,000 by the end of June. I was like, what? Oh shit. Like, because you know it's Gemini season, she can manifest all the things she wants to manifest. So yeah, let's just keep growing and let's just keep building this beautiful community together. And I'm so grateful to have everybody who is following me. Thank you so much, and for joining me during this time. I'm going to be doing weekly healing circles on here every week, except for a certain week in June that we're going to talk about because it's Bae's birthday. Okay, we're going to go hiking the tallest mountain in New York State. So there will be a vlog just in case I bust my ass, but that day, that specific Monday, I'm gonna be up in a mountain, so I can't do it. But I will let you guys know the details of that, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to check out the Patreon as well, because we're always learning and growing over there. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.